1, and remember when I talked about Sword and Shield? I think they want an encore.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, the most controversial game since the f*** is this? Yes, it's been a minute since seeing our good friends in the Galar region, but the time has finally come when the adventure can resume. Back in January 2020, Game Freak revealed their plans to release the very first DLC pack for a main series Pokemon title. It was a two-parter, with the first part of the DLC being the Isle of Armor, and the second part being the Crown Tundra. Well, we have finally arrived at the release of the Isle of Armor. Leading to its release, I wasn't incredibly excited for the DLC, as from what it showed, it seemed like the real star of the show was set to be the Crown Tundra. But this is a first look at Game Freak implementing DLC, so I was optimistic, and I've got to say, it turned out pretty well. So let's have a look at the Isle of Armor and see if it shows promise in the idea of having DLC for the mainline Pokemon games. So the Isle of Armor is one big island off to the right of the Galar region, and it's a full open world map in the same fashion as the Wild area, where there are different types of areas to explore, consisting of different types of Pokemon, more Dynamax and Gigantamax raids to participate in, and a heck ton of items, my goodness. Visually, the whole island really does look nice. Despite there still being a couple rough edges and this tree, there is still much more vibrance in the new areas of the map that I didn't feel the Wild area had as much of. The whole Isle of Armor feels like you're truly playing a complete open world game. From the beginning, you can explore all the parts you'd like, whether it's the desert on the far side or any of the smaller islands off by the ocean. The isle is yours to explore. Just watch out for the Sharpedo. Now, the DLC marked the return of over 100 Pokemon from the previous generations that were initially excluded from the Galar Pokédex. They introduced only two new Galarian forms, which are Galarian Slowpoke and Slowbro. You'd think they changed their names though, since these Galarian forms basically go Sonic speed. They also introduced some new Gigantamax Pokemon, and I don't know why, but there's something cool about Cinderace kicking a ball of fire towards your opponents.
Alright, this is nice and all, but Victini still isn't on the list!
Yeah, some fans will still be disappointed that there are still Pokemon that haven't been added to the games yet, but relax, as there's still the Crown Tundra, which will add more Pokemon, and then it's up to the next entry, remake, or whatever got announced on Wednesday that past me recording this at the moment doesn't know about. We also have some returning characters also make an appearance on the island, like our good buddy Hop, who helps us with a task during the story. Oh, Sonia's in the snow. I wonder what that could mean. Now, the main place you will be visiting in the Isle of Armor will be the Dojo, which is home to its master, Mustard. Here is where many story events will take place as you join the dojo and learn from the man himself. You will be sent to complete different trials throughout the island in order to get a special reward being Cubfu, the new legendary Pokemon. This thing is adorable. However, the main one who stands in your way of Cubfu is the rival, which depends on the version you play. But since I played Sword, my rival was Clara. I have to say, Clara, as a character, is actually really good. Yeah, I hate her overall, but one of the greatest strengths I talked about in my initial game review was how they really did a good job in showing character development over time, and this honestly is no exception with Clara. Despite the Isle of Armor story being much shorter, they were able to show some decent growth in Clara as she went from an overconfident person who thought they knew it all to someone who realized there is still much to learn and finally focuses on striving for their goals. You know, I almost feel bad for destroying her Venipede.
You know what, I take it back. I'm glad I burned that Venipede to a crisp. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta fill out this questionnaire the police just gave me.
Overall, in terms of the story, it's fairly quick to complete, as if you just focus on the story alone, you could probably complete it in an hour or so. However, it's a pretty decent story that feels like a soft reset of the game as you explore a brand new area, learn about new Pokemon, and meet new faces. That's how I felt overall with the Isle of Armor. It was refreshing just coming back to Sword and Shield with some new content and some nice improvements overall. Cutscenes in the game still looked really nice and transitioned very smoothly. Trainer levels were dependent on if you beat the main game or not, which is pretty incredible. And you can walk around with your Pokemon in the Isle of Armor. Dreams do come true. It's not perfect though. My only issues with the DLC were the lack of care for this tree. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, seriously. My only problems were that there are still issues when connecting online, as there was still major lag when it came to moving around in the overworld on the island while connected online. It really does get annoying sometimes. Also, I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't add more new Galarian Pokemon for this DLC, and also the fact that the story was somewhat short, but some of these issues could easily be resolved with the Crown Tundra DLC, so I'll let it slide for now. But overall, this DLC did get me to return to Pokemon Sword and Shield, and now I'm back again trying to complete the new Isle of Armor Pokédex and do some raids while I'm at it. Despite there still being another portion of the DLC left, I feel that this has shown the value and necessity of DLC for Pokemon games over the traditional third version titles. Though third version games have shown to improve their predecessor titles in the past, the release of Ultra Sun Ultra Moon has shown us that third versions might be a thing worth keeping in the past, and this DLC has only supported the idea as it's shown improvements in the game without the need of restarting the game from the very beginning or paying full price again for an updated version of the game we just played. One more thing the DLC shows is that this could easily be testing ground for a future Pokemon game that could be completely open world, which is exciting. There's still a lot of work Game Freak must do before they can confidently release such a game, but someday we'll finally have the Pokemon version of Breath of the Wild we all wanted. But don't worry, these trees will still be in the game.
So there you go, the Isle of Armor. It did a good job in getting me to play Sword and Shield again. I have to say though, the Crown Tundra probably has its own things to say in terms of the idea of whether DLC is worth or, the right step to go for the Pokemon series. But as of now, from what we've got so far, I have to say it's been pretty worth. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go call it an early night because I'm super excited for tomorrow's Pokemon Presents. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what gets announced. What on earth? Tony the Tiger in Smash!